to And Here's Modi. Yo, mamish. No, I sit into the chair, otherwise it's like a question mark. Leo hates when we talk during the music. It's Hamish's song, no? It's a Hamish song.
I'm scared to leave.
No, don't worry about it.
I do love the song.
No, he gives me mechila, even though but I the only time I want to talk is during this play song playing. And welcome to And Here's Modi.
You're so annoying. I had one small request that you don't talk in the intro music because you can't separate your voice from the music. It just becomes one file at that point.
So what does that mean?
So now people have to listen to you talking over the music.
They should.
But then it destroys the point of having music as intro.
Oh no!
Do they talk when they do the intro?
Fight you on this. I think we should.
It's a branding thing, and you don't get it. But let's get into our guest.
I'm branding that we talk during the intro music.
All right. Well, then you have.
Okay. Now they tell me like this, Joey. One minute, Joey. They tell me like this. This is what this. Okay. They said like this. I do a bad job at introducing the guests.
Okay.
I just go right into it. I don't. I assume everybody already knows who's the guest, and you, for one thing, I know no one knows who you are. That's the one thing I know. Sure. No one has ever heard of you. Only in certain circles, and they prefer not to hear from you anymore. And so now I'm gonna make the achana, the introduction, the preparation for our guest today, and then we have so many things to talk about because she's been collecting for Ukraine. she found this is Periel. This is Periel. She's our producer, co-producer, whatever the title. Creative marketing director, branding of creative insult, whatever the title you want. Titles that are very important.
She was really nice with
me. She was full blown in COVID. When COVID happened, she was this and masked and whatever she could to do for COVID. And then thank God the war in the Ukraine broke out. Now she has that to worry the world about. She's been in her basement collecting direct to send over, and I mean direct mamish. Not stam. People aren't sending her blankets and pillows and diapers. They're sending her Weight Watchers point cards to send to the refugees in the Ukraine. That's what that's happening. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about you and me and our relationship and the amazing work you're doing with wheelchairs. If anybody's still listening and didn't hang up now. And
so who is this?
This is Joey Piekarski, Shlita.
What is that? What's Shlita?
May he be Shlita Shekoyim. All of his days may be blessed and with success or whatever. Joey Piekarski and I are friends from like from
20 years.
Much more than 20. What are you talking about? 90s. I remember I was living in that apartment. I one day had an idea. I wanted to make a Jewish album of music, of songs that everybody, like all the conservative synagogues know. Do you remember this or no?
I remember meeting you at Bubby's once. It was at Bubby's.
No, it was in my apartment.
Okay.
I hate to meet like in restaurants. I like to meet in my apartment so we can focus. So I said I want to make this like kind of an album of all the songs that people in synagogue who just all they know is the songs in synagogues. They can sing along. You know, Be yanorachitz velishme kadisha. So I told Chaim Marcus, our friend. Chaim Marcus lives in L.A. Manis Friedman's nephew, who we've had as a guest.
Of course.
Everyone's Manis Friedman's nephew. And then he put us together and we became friends. We never did the album. And we became friends. And then I got a phone call from Michael Rainin, who saw me on Comedy Central and said, I bought the rights to do this movie called Waiting for Woody Allen.
That's right.
It was a short film, takeoff of like Waiting for Godot, and it's two Hasids sitting in the park waiting for Woody Allen. The dialogue was, but I said, I'll do it if I can choose the other Hasid. Because I wanted it to be original and to be real. Don't cast anybody, some horrible kid who thinks he can be Jewish because he once wore a yarmulke. And I got Joey Piekarski to do it with me. and we got and
It's
there's
kind
a
of hard to
picture.
see,
Yeah.
but
Those of you who aren't listening, Google "waiting for Woody Allen" and you'll see a picture of both of us.
Actually, the way I remember it was we were
Oh.
having we were having dinner, and
No.
you said, "I'm doing this film, Waiting for Woody Allen, about these two Hasidic Jews, and the other actor is this Italian guy, and he doesn't know how to
Oh my
act,
God, that's right.
and I'm looking for somebody else." And you said, "Perhaps you want to do it." And I'm like, "I don't do this stuff. I'm not an actor."
Which is why you were amazing.
And you said, "Joe, all you gotta do is be yourself."
He was himself. Now it happens to be, Joey. Those of you who aren't watching this, he's a handsome guy. He's a handsome guy. He's in shape. He swims. He
shakes.
He's a handsome guy, but he looks a little bit like a non-pervy Woody Allen.
Does that
if Woody,
exist?
Yeah, if Woody Allen wasn't really like a pervert, you would look
Also,
like
back
him.
then, that was this is the pre-Woody Allen.
Right,
This
this
is
is pre-Woody Allen.
Pre like cancel.
Right, and
whatever.
you also
Yeah.
had his glasses. It's really frightening how Woody Allen he is, and he speaks like Woody Allen. Do you hear him?
Yes, I hear
So
him.
now the name of the movie is Waiting for Woody Allen, and it's me and him, and it's 3 days of shooting in Central Park. The first few hours we began shooting, it was warm. Do you remember
Oh,
this?
yes,
It was
yes.
warm. There was a sun.
Yeah.
So we didn't wear coats or anything, and we wore the Hasidic garb, like a coat and a hat, and we had our beards made. There was like the beards we had were like she put glue on our face and took little things, so it all froze on our faces.
Oh,
and
my.
with 3 days, we filmed in this one seat in
Central
Poets
Park.
Row.
Poets-
It's called
yes,
Poets
yeah.
Row, and done. 6-8 months later, this film in 2004 was in every single film festival
Yeah.
that year.
Yeah.
Because every film festival wants to have a picture of two Hasids in their brochure.
Yeah.
It just fits. And it won the LA Short Film Festival. And Joey and I became very close friends.
Yeah.
We always, sometimes there's a lag between time that we see each other, but we always not argue. You know when people say we agree to disagree? There's nobody more that's me and you. We are really.
Yeah.
I believe in God and Mashiach and being positive, and Hashem is helping, and everything is the right timing. And he's like, "What are you on?" Am I right or wrong?
You do see Hashem everywhere. You
see Hashem everywhere.
Wherever you see Hashem, and it's beautiful. It's a very
Hashem
beautiful-
is God. I'm
Hashem-
surprised.
Thank you.
Usually,
I know
usually
that.
she's the one.
No,
that-
no, I know that though. It's.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
everybody knows. No, is that
By
like
now, anybody
ubiquitous,
listening to this
knows
should know what
Hashem.
Hashem is.
Wait,
and I'm
so
like, maybe he's not everywhere. Maybe he's somewhere. Maybe.
where is
No,
he?
you've. I think you've turned a little more positive in your
I'm
days.
a little
No?
bit more, yeah, a little more positive. But I mean, I could see both sides of the of you know.
But you
of
can
the argument.
believe in Hashem and not, or in God. Why am I saying Hashem? I mean that he does, or you cannot believe in God and still be positive.
No, you can be exactly, but I think that Modi has a beautiful, almost like a God gene. He sees it anytime he sees like something happens. He sees Hashem is the one who's like motivating, and I like to take ownership of myself. So if there's a problem or a success, I'm more looking inward for like inspiration, or to friends, or to people, or to community. I'm a very big believer of people and community. And Modi has just a beautiful, direct line to Hashem, where I think him and Hashem have this great relationship, where they just communicate.
But you're making it as if Hashem, as if God is a person. It's an energy. I'm not looking at it like I call him up, on speed dial 917, call God. It's an energy.
Right.
Can I tell you a very funny story?
You can, especially
So-
because it's your show.
Joey Piekarski, when he was in yeshiva, in parochial school, was one of the best students of Talmud and all of that stuff. One day he's in my apartment and I get a package. Do you remember this?
I don't know.
Yeah. So in the Talmud it says that comedians have a chelik to olam haba. They have a portion in the world to come.
That's what it says in the Talmud.
100%. I'm banking on that till my last day.
If it doesn't say, I consider it that it says.
It says it. It's in the
Why
Talmud.
does it
It's in
say
the-
that?
It's in the Talmud. It says that. There's a whole Talmud tract.
Just for
No. There's a
comedians?
section where Elijah, where they're in the marketplace, and Elijah the prophet is in the marketplace, and somebody finds out that Elijah the prophet's in the marketplace, and they
He was looking for a deal.
He was, he was shopping.
He was looking for wheelchairs.
He was
Looking for wheelchairs. Thank you, Leah. We'll get to the wheelchairs. And then two people came over to him and asked him, who in this marketplace has a portion in the world to come? And Elijah the prophet said, those two over there. So they go to ask them, what do you do? And it says, they say, Anu anshe bediche. We are people of jokes. We are comedians. We make people happy, and we also make peace amongst people who are fighting. We bring peace through comedy. And so I had this framed, and it arrived right when you were in the house. Do you remember this? Yeah.
Okay.
And we called the guy next door. There's a Hasidic guy next door and you translated it, and he reads it. You know, it says Anu Amshe Bediche Inami Anu Mevatchim. And he reads it, and he turns to me and goes, "You really believe this?" I go, "I am banking on this. Are you kidding me? This is it. When I show up here, I make people laugh. Take me in. Don't bring me back down there for another Gilgal, for another reincarnation. Let me off."
Modi also calls me out of the blue, I think 4 times a year. He'll call me out of the blue just to remind me. So the first time he calls me is in the month of Elul. You call me. Every month of Elul, he picks up the phone. So the month of Elul is...
She's not going to let you get away with that.
Right. He's about to explain it.
So there's 12 Hebrew months.
Right.
Are we in Adar right now?
Oh my
yes.
God.
Adar Sheni.
That's another time he called me.
No.
So the first time he called, so there's this beautiful parable. So Adar is like the month pre-holiday month. So
Elul.
I'm sorry, Elul. Elul's like a pre-holiday month.
Good.
I thought every month is a holiday.
No.
It's a pre-holiday month. So it's like a pre-Rosh Hashanah, pre-Yom Kippur month. So there's this great parable that the king, which is God, usually is in his palace.
In the field.
No, but
Hamelech Basadeh.
But in the month of Adar, he is in
Elul.
I'm sorry, Elul, he's in the field.
Yes.
In other words, he's more accessible to people.
Sounds busy, this guy.
It's like a politician before
Jesus.
It's like a politician before the vote. He goes out to the people to try to, garnish votes from the people. So like a politician is more available. So Modi, I know. How do I know when the month of Elul starts? I get a call from Modi, and Modi's like, "Do you know who's in the field?" Every year he'll call me up. He'll say, "Do you know who's in the field? Guess who's in the field right now?"
We do. I always say, I call him, tell him that the king's in the field, and we go back and he goes, "Where was he?" I go, "He was in Miami for COVID. He was in Miami, but now he's in the field, so he's accessible. So go." Yeah. And then for Adar, the month of where Purim is, the month we're in, it's saying Shenichnas Adar Mabeh B'Simcha. When the month of Adar comes in, you're supposed to be B'Simcha. So then he and I always do the conversation. So does that mean every other month we should be depressed? And we have like a whole banter.
It's getting
back
very
and forth.
Jewy even for this podcast.
Guess what? This podcast is Jewy. And if it doesn't work for you, hang
you
up.
You can make it Jewy.
Have to give hang up.
Is he in the field right now?
By the way, can I just
no,
he's at Cipriani.
Because there's something going on in Ukraine where they could use him.
Wait, can we just complete off-track conversation?
I feel like you're going to do it anyway. So
hang up. We went out the other night to this dance bar type of a thing, and it was all like an 80s 90s type of a vibe, and everybody's dressed 80s 90s. The music was 80s 90s, and some of them were so committed. One kid who must have been 24 25 had a flip phone.
Oh, I'm obsessed.
No, obsessed.
He was wearing $500 sneakers and a flip phone, so I know that it was a choice.
No, it was a choice. And then I just remembered. Do you know how much fun it was to hang up on somebody on a flip phone? You remember, just got to click, click.
More satisfying.
Anyway, that was just an offshoot. Anyway, so now keep in mind, Joey, with his beliefs, which we're not going to get into, is there a God? There isn't a God. One of the most beautiful things you do is your father, who's a huge, huge rabbi.
Yes.
You work on translating Unkelus with him.
Who?
Well,
we're not forgetting about you. We're going to bring you back into this, but I want to see, first of all, if you're into this conversation.
Yeah, am I into the conversation?
Yes.
My father does. So my father was a principal in a yeshiva for many years, and then he graduated. I'm sorry, he retired, and he decided to translate the Tosfos. The Tosfos is a commentary on the Talmud. So the Talmud is this sort of is a book of Jewish law. It's like the first time law was like the Jewish law was written down and like codified. It's around 2,000 years old. And a lot later, there were different. So that the Talmud is written in like kind of shorthand, and it's also written in Aramaic. So it's a little bit difficult to read it directly, and you need sort of someone to help.
It's like the Cliff Notes.
It's like Cliff Notes, exactly. So
And you need Adderall.
and you need
And you need Adderall to get through anything on that. You need a hit of Adderall.
I mean,
Okay.
that sounds like quite an undertaking.
right.
Well, go ahead.
So
And-
he so there are translations of the Talmud, which is in Aramaic, in English. There's 2 or 3 different translations. But if you want to do a little bit of a deep dive and understand a little bit better, then there are some other commentaries. One is a famous, they're like medieval, like 16th, 17th century scholars. And one of them is called Tosfos. And my father is translating the Tosfos, which is a translation on the Talmud, into English. And it's never been
Tosfos is the name of the person who did it?
Right. Tosfos actually means an addition. The actual word means an addition, or
Lehosif.
Losif, okay.
Hosif, Hosafa, right? It's an addition. And so, so I want to have a relationship with my father. And if he played tennis, I'd play tennis with him. If he played golf, I'd do that. But so I understood if you want to have a relationship with your parents, you have to meet them where they are.
Right.
And what he's doing, his tennis, is translating the Tosfos in English. So,
But that's written in Aramaic, or was that written in?
It's written in Hebrew.
Hebrew.
Okay,
but
so
like
it's
a
Aramaic to Hebrew to English.
Well, the original Talmud text is Aramaic,
Okay.
and then the supporting commentaries are in Hebrew, and he's translating it into Hebrew into English. But it's sort of
From
It's a
Hebrew
different-
into
it's a different
English?
type of Hebrew, because it's also there's also Tosfos on the Torah.
right.
So it's
Well, there's not Tosfos. The Tosfos on the Torah. There's Onkelos on the Torah. That's
Onkelos.
Onkelos and Tosfos are different.
okay.
Okay, wait a second. So he's going from Hebrew to English?
So my father is sort of So it's really made for academics, so people who study Talmud, who are interested in Jewish law.
Right.
and studying Talmud.
I didn't think it was like
It's not like a at night before you go to bed, you kind of pick up the book and you read it. It's more made if you want to do a deep dive into the Talmud, you want to understand the Tosfos, because the Tosfos explains the Talmud, it kind of teases it apart, explains the different arguments, what are the reasons behind the arguments. And so I want to have a relationship with my dad. And as I got older, I realized that I have to meet him where he is and what's important to him and what's special to him. And so I said, look, I know you're translating these Tosfos in English. Let's spend once a week, and I'll learn it with you. I'll kind of like proofread it with you. I'll read it with you. So, I mean, I'm not writing it. He's doing the writing. He's doing everything. But once a week, so I live in New York City, and he lives in Crown Heights, and on Wednesday nights, I have an hour with him studying his writing, and then my mother makes me dinner,
Oh.
and then I go home.
And you go on your Vespa?
And
but I do.
that whole interaction
Yeah.
is what's bringing Mashiach. It's not bringing, because I believe
Yes.
Mashiach is here.
Oh, he's already here.
He's no Shoin do.
I shouldn't.
Shoin do.
Vous?
In the waiting room. He's in the
Can I
waiting
see
room.
him?
He's in the waiting. I really believe Mashiach is here.
Okay,
He's in the
that's-
waiting room.
that's
He's
a
in the
whole new-
waiting room.
That's a whole new level, which I like.
So in doing this, in doing this with your dad, have you had to translate or go over certain concepts or arguments that have made you not have like confrontations, but just like art discussions about your different viewpoints of?
You know, it's funny. You know, it didn't. I mean, I don't want to get too personal because he may listen to this, but I think what I learned from it, because my father's a pure academic, so when he's studying, he's only studying. He's not trying to have a conversation. He doesn't ask me how my day was. He'll wait for dinner. He's very, very particular. You know. And I think what it did for me is it understood that sometimes there's different kinds of loves, right? And I think there's a love where you want to receive and a love where you want to give. And to love my parents is a love that I have to give. I have to say, it's more of like, what makes you happy? I want to meet you on your side of the table.
Okay.
And maybe in other relationships, I expect different kinds of loves. And the way I was able to get the love from my father is by almost giving him for an hour or two exactly what he wants and what makes him happy.
Wow.
And so it allows me to sort of expand my concept of love.
And
do
then-
you see who I'm friends with? This
and
is
then
who I'm
in
friends with. You see, I
return-
bring anybody to your podcast here. I bring
And then
good people
in
to the
return
podcast.
for that, they
They make dinner for me.
They make dinner.
no, but like I think that love, it goes both ways, right? Like it's not a one-way thing. It's not just, and I'm not suggesting
Yeah.
that this is the case for your parents, but yes, like it should go both ways. Different people need different things, but and so I don't mean like tit for tat, like and in return for that you get what? But in return for that you get what?
A relationship with your father.
I get a relationship with my father, but I think the perhaps it's like a generational thing. I think I mean maybe different parents are different, but I find that a lot of the parents from my generation, they kind of were like they were kind of above whatever the children. They weren't like on the they weren't that friendly. It was more it was more of a relationship out of respect, a relationship that came out of duty and responsibility. The way I am with my kids now is more of like I'm trying to be more a friend. I tell them that I love them all the time, and I hug them and I touch them. I think my parents came from a different generation. I think their parents weren't like that with them. So so when I was younger, in my 20s and my 30s, I wanted them to like hug me and love me. And of course they love me, but they show love in a different way. They show love in action. They show love in always being there for me. But it's a different kind of love. And I think that I learned that you have to love people different ways, and you receive love in a different way.
Well, it's a very generous
Very
take.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've met your sons.
Yeah.
And you go on crazy trips with them, and you do crazy adventures with them. That's like so cool to me. That you are able to do that.
Right. So
No,
for
every
me-
once in a while he sends a picture that he's in some place.
No, it's like the Galapagos.
The-
It's like
no,
it's not
but
like they're
so-
going to Miami. It's
sends
like
Oh my God.
it's like
sends a picture of,
it's
of
crazy places.
he sends a picture of some place no one needs to be.
How old
That's
are
where
your
he
sons?
thinks he's some island that no one heard of, and there's no dentist anywhere in sight. If
That's
you
where
need
your
one,
mind always goes.
whoa.
The dentist.
I have a brilliant system. Here's what I do. I tell my two boys, they're like 25 and 24 now. Avi
They're
and
very
Mickey.
cool.
They're very cool. And it's been many years like this. I say, choose anywhere in the world that you want to go for 2 weeks, like at the end of the year. Anywhere in the world. I give them a budget, obviously. I say, you want to go anywhere in the world, I'll take you there. Just, you have to do the whole itinerary. Tell me where we're going, and I'll meet you at the airport. And so this gives them an opportunity for them to look at the world, understand geography, and they take ownership in this trip. And because of that, we go into these like amazing trips.
So where have you guys gone?
New Jersey. They went to New Jersey.
You were Bali, right?
We were in this past winter into Patagonia. Me, my
Wow.
sons, yeah. It's funny because we actually landed in Santiago, Chile. And when you land in Santiago, Chile, you have to get COVID tested. So my son got tested negative, and I got tested positive. So I was stuck in Santiago for 10 days.
No.
I swear. And I was locked in a hotel, and he did the whole trip on his own.
Oh my God.
So I was stuck in a hotel for 10 days, and yeah.
But during COVID,
That's awful.
That's
we're
so
gonna get to it.
crazy.
But he has a surgical supply company.
yeah.
But so he was able to travel during COVID all over Europe because he had a card saying, "I'm a surgical supply company, so I'm here to meet with people to bring products over for surgical
Yeah.
supplies."
Isn't that what you did too, Modi?
Me? No, I sat in my apartment and did Zoom shows. But you were traveling so much
I did a
during
lot of
COVID. It
traveling,
was
yeah.
insane.
Did you get COVID?
Obviously, he
got
tested positive in
COVID.
Santiago.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
I got
that's right.
COVID just now, like Omicron
In Chile.
In Chile, but that
Oh,
was, it was very light, very light, very very light.
Light
version.
COVID.
Yes, very light.
Not
COVID.
like Miles.
I was.
Yeah, well,
Miles, our producer, just got
we got
COVID.
COVID.
For,
No.
our engineer got
Yeah.
and so that's so now hold on. Let's get to. So that's us. That's Joey Piekarski. Now, is that a good introduction for Joey Piekarski?
so this is a friend from your past who's very spiritual, who you share a lot of.
He doesn't
who
seem so spiritual. You don't seem
He's
so
like, wait a
spiritual.
second, I'm
But
not
you
sure.
share a spiritual background,
We do say,
and
we
you
share
can
a
bounce
very,
ideas
yes,
off of
bounce
each other.
ideas.
You've done creative projects together.
I think we also like straddle two worlds, and I think we share that because Modi lives in two can I say that? Like you live in two, like you're very aware of two worlds, like the Hasidic world and also the secular world.
The secular world, yeah.
And you live, and I think also have a very, deep
And
knowledge.
love them both.
No,
and
they're,
love
they're
them
wonderful.
both.
They're wonderful. Yes.
Yeah. And you can.
You can
You don't need
straddle
to
them.
be. You,
Yeah,
you
they don't have to be
sugar.
separate,
Yeah, you don't
right.
have to be. All
I don't know. I think
But
that's
you're always
actually
contrasting.
unique. I don't think that I don't think that that's something that should be taken for granted. I think that a lot of people have an incredibly difficult time straddling both of those worlds, and they feel really shunned.
Yeah, but it depends on your entry point. It depends how old you are. It depends what your emotional.
It's also, I have that opportunity because I don't have children in a school that's religious or school that's not religious. It's just, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
And lucky to have you as a friend.
Oh.
And you make people very lucky and happy too. How's that for a segue? Oh my God.
That was.
So Joey,
yeah.
Joey has.
Let's
a
roll
company.
into the
But
next
how did
segment.
you get into 1-800-wheelchair? By the way,
Yeah.
for years you were saved in my phone as Joey Wheelchair, and I took it out because what a horrible thing to be. When you think of wheelchair,
only
you
one.
don't think of like
Right.
fun
Right.
wheelchair.
Vitality.
Well,
But
we're
you-
trying to
how did you
change
get
that
in
over
there? It was your
here.
father's company. It was
No,
some
no.
kind of. How was? I
Here's-
never know how.
Here's
that
what happened. I got married because I was born in Chabad, and then we were encouraged to get married really young. So I had kids right away, and I needed to find a way to make, to support the family. And it was late '90s, and the internet kind of just was starting. And I asked myself, who's going to shop on? This is like pre-Amazon, pre-Google. I said, who's going to shop on the internet? And I said, probably people who can't walk, people in wheelchairs. So I bought the URL wheelchair.com and the phone number 1-800-wheelchair. And I built the first online medical supply company.
Best thing you ever did, huh?
Oh my God! It's the
Do
only.
you see who I bring? Do you see who I bring you to the podcast?
That's brilliant.
Isn't that incredible?
But also, I love that he's going. Who's going to use the internet? Only people who can't walk.
Right. It's very
Literally,
myopic.
I don't
It's
know
very-
if you saw
It worked.
Pam and Tony, the documentary on Pam Anderson,
I haven't.
Pamela Anderson, and they were selling the video, the porn video that they had.
yeah.
It was right when the internet was coming out, and there was the only way they could sell it it's exactly the way you're telling your story now,
Yeah.
but for wheelchairs, but for their
Yeah.
porn. Anyway,
I mean, listen, back then, anybody, whatever, if you chose a certain niche, if you said, I want to sell ski poles or ski things, it was because if you're the first one to kind of plant your flag and you were half a decent business person, you probably would do very well. Anyway, so I ran this company. I'm still running the company, 1-800-Wheelchair, wheelchair.com, for 25 years now. And around 4 or 5 years ago, after selling everyone else's wheelchairs, I thought that I could make a better wheelchair. I thought wheelchairs are heavy and they're ugly. So and most of the wheelchairs we were selling and medical supplies were to older people, right? And so I decided I'm going to figure out a way how to make a super light wheelchair. And I did a lot of traveling, went to China and went to different shows and experimented with different kind of metals and materials. And we came up with a brand called Featherchair. And Featherchair makes the world's lightest wheelchair. It's a 13-pound wheelchair.
Wow.
So and it's designed for someone who's in their 50s, 60s, taking care of their parents, a 70, 80-year-old, and to lift it into a car instead of lifting a heavy 40-pound wheelchair, you can now lift a 13-pound wheelchair. And we made a whole brand around Featherchair, which makes a couple of products. We make an electric wheelchair.
I remember seeing the videos of you in China in the
factories.
in the factory on the go-kart.
On the different-
Yeah, it was so funny.
Yeah, going there and figuring out how to make things and how to ship things over. But we brought it back around 2 years ago. We launched the line, and it's been a tremendous success. We're selling it all over the world, and this is allowing older people to lift these chairs into a car, to travel, to be more active, go to a restaurant. And so that's the general story of wheelchair.com and Featherchair.
So you're bringing Mashiach one wheelchair at a
One
time.
wheelchair at a time.
Featherchair, amazing. And it's on 1-800. What you still have 1-800?
Yeah, we still have 1-800-Wheelchair. And
Do people call that number?
we get a couple of hundred calls a day. Yeah,
Wow.
people. You know why also? Because when I started the company, back then there were a couple of 1-800 companies. If you remember, it was like 1-800 mattress.
Flowers.
Yeah,
Of
mattress,
course,
flowers,
yeah.
lawyer.
Lawyers.
Yeah.
So even though I had the URL wheelchair.com, I'm like, I'm going to call it 1-800-wheelchair.com because people are probably going to want to call and they're not really comfortable. And I followed 1-800-Mattress, and I followed 1-800-Flowers, even though they all owned mattress.com and flowers.com. And it just stayed, it stayed like that.
And did you used to be the person who actually answered the phone?
No, if
in the
you could only
beginning?
see who answers the phone. Abishter, God help us all. I went to his office once. I went to the office. It was in Williamsburg. And you walk in there, and there were like 40 super, super, super Orthodox women with the spitzel. What do you call it?
Shaitel.
No, but no.
Like the
Some-
headset?
The headset.
Oh, the headset. I don't know.
Like the call center headset?
No, not the call center. Yes, with the wigs, but all some of them have more than just the wig covering their hair. It's that Orthodox of women answering the phones, right? Is it still the same thing?
It's not the same, but because
That's such a great picture, like an image of.
because like for a while when I started the company, I started within the Hasidic community, and I moved to Williamsburg. So I thought it's important when you start a company to draw the talent from the local people,
community.
from local community, and so it tended to be female Hasidic women that were out of school and they needed a job, and some of their husbands were still studying in yeshiva, and they were the breadwinners. And it just became a huge office of me and a whole bunch of
It's amazing.
That is amazing.
Hasidic women. I mean, at least in the call center, it was that. But now it's changed a lot. It's now it's more
What is it?
dispersed. I mean, we have people all over the country now because of COVID, and it's not. We moved to locations a lot.
The
since
call
then.
centers in New Delhi.
No,
No, don't
it's
do
all-
that to us.
No, it's all local. You call, you'll
nothing
get,
worse than that.
You'll get a local person.
So that's
Yeah,
Joey,
yeah, yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. That's Joey, my good friend for many, many years. 1-800-wheelchairs.com. So it's 1-800 and then wheelchair.
No S.
Wheelchair.
Singular.
Wheelchair.
Wheelchair.com.
Or just go to wheelchair.com.
Yeah, I remember when you told me, hey, we just sold all our wheelchairs to JetBlue. Remember when you were like selling to the companies and it was on the back of the wheelchair?
Yeah.
And I used to walk around the airport. That's my friend's wheelchair. I used to be so proud of that. And it's Featherchair. It's the lightest thing. You should just go online and see the other things. I remember you tried to
Miles, can you pull that up?
what?
Wheelchair.com.
Oh,
Go to the
wheelchair.com.
Featherchair.
Yeah.
Or actually pull up featherchair.com.
Featherchair.com.
That's
Wow.
yeah. You'll get an idea of what it is.
Featherchair.
Okay, well, but while he's pulling that up, we're going to so listen, he tried to reinvent. He tried to.
We make beautiful, lightweight, and affordable wheelchairs.
That's
World's
pretty
lightest
good looking.
wheelchairs. 13.5 pounds.
Wow.
Look at that.
That's amazing. That's 13 pounds?
Yep.
And it can carry up to 250-pound capacity.
Yeah, that's an electric wheelchair. Weighs 33 pounds.
Wow. No, it's impressive.
Look at that guy. Look at that guy.
Effortless. Throwing it in the car. Like it's the dry
So
cleaning.
he tried to reinvent. Joey tried to reinvent the cane also. He got Philip Stark and tried to really reinvent
Philippe
the cane.
Stark designed a cane for you.
How'd that go?
I mean, it didn't go that well.
Right.
But like over the years, I always felt that wheelchairs are like almost like it's like the most unsexy product you can sell. And one of my passions is to see if I can make wheelchairs beautiful and hip. And so
That's so cool.
So I've worked with a few designers over the years to try to rethink them and redesign them. I also look a lot to baby strollers because the baby stroller market is also like it's about a person who is unable to walk and how do we design it.
That's so smart.
So for me, there's like a sort of there's like a correlation between baby strollers and wheelchairs.
Amazing.
Jeremy Scott from Moschino. Jeremy
yes,
Scott
yes.
did like a sick line of baby stuff.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Strollers with Bugaboo.
Okay.
Right.
So
We're
you
going
were-
a little bit deep now.
So now,
granular.
so now we all have that, and we're so happy that you're a part of this and advertising with us, and I couldn't be happy to be verbringen with you today.
Yeah.
But now, ladies and gentlemen, in the past, since we've left, a war has begun. I don't know if those of you are following, but Russia has invaded Ukraine, and aid needs to be sent to the refugees. People crossing borders, people suffering, people with children that need all kinds of supplies. And our producer here, Periel, has taken all Malchut Shemaim. She's taken the yoke of.
Oh, she's really done something crazy.
Would you let me introduce this segment here? And people have been sending her. So she has some situation where she can get these products to Europe.
Correct.
And so she put out that I'm taking products, and people have been sending her things. And some of the things people have been sending her are like the slippers you get when you go to the Four Seasons. Do you know those little white slippers that says Four Seasons on it? A Weight Watchers point card. You know, just when you count your points for Weight Watchers, individual Band-Aids, and then what was it? A Twister game, a Twister game. Those are the things people have been saying.
I got a bottle of self tanner.
What are you going to do with that?
These poor people, and that's what they're sending.
No, but you're also getting a lot of stuff. You sent over a literal ton of supplies.
We've sent over almost 6,000 pounds of
You just have to sift through
supplies.
the crazy stuff.
I mean, most of it's been incredible. That stuff's not that,
No, but your videos, you've been posting these videos on Instagram. For people who
Some
don't follow
people-
Periel. She has a pile of supplies in the back, and she's holding up
like
a Weight Watchers card or fuzzy slippers.
And they all begin like this. Listen, what are they gonna do with this?
Or if they send,
That's how
God forbid, anyone sends anything liquid, she's like, "How many times do I have to tell you we can't ship liquid?" You just get so it's so funny because you're doing this like beautiful thing, but you get so like irate in these videos.
So enraging. There's a list.
Who do you send it to? Who's receiving it on the other end?
So first of all, it started because the super in my building is from Ukraine, and they put bins out in the building. And I said, I'm going to send it. I'm the grade mom. My son's in 2nd grade. So I said, I'm going to send it to the moms, and because God forbid the fathers do anything. It's all the mothers that are in the WhatsApp group. It's like 1920. It's true. It's true. There are no fathers that are doing anything for the school. It's all the moms.
Anyone
and
wants to start Fathers for Ukraine, you can reach out to Periel.
There you go, at Periel Ashenbrand. Okay, so then I got them. The school was amazing, and they basically put bins out in front of the school, and they sent it to the whole school, and it was nuts. Like, it was like suddenly we had hundreds and hundreds of items that my basement in my building turned into like a sorting packing facility. And one of the other moms who's been doing it with me, I mean, this one found out at this school, this one, I mean, I'm talking about like SUVs filled to the brims, like 4 every 4 hours showing up. Like, it just exploded. And we figured out through Vitali, the super, who has family in Sambir in Western Ukraine, there was basically a group of people like us that were sorting, and we got on this very early. So we were shipping through there into Poland, and then it's getting trucked in to these towns, and now it's very difficult to get into Poland. So we found someone in Odessa.
Oh, wow.
In Ukraine, and we just shipped 60 boxes.
Wow.
Of medical, food, tampons and pads, diapers, adult diapers, which sounds like it might be up your alley a little bit, toothbrushes, toothpaste, formula bottles.
Can you explain to people the parent?
Yeah.
I'm gonna just so you know, I'm gonna take the clip of adult diapers, which might be up your alley, and that'll be the
soundbite.
That'll be the soundbite. Meet Joey Piekarski, and then it just goes. Adult diapers might be right up your alley.
Listen, it's not sexy, but people need them.
You could put it on your Tinder profile.
So we shipped all those to Romania.
Yeah.
And from Romania, they're getting trucked into Odessa.
Wow.
No, the logistics are crazy.
Yeah, that's why.
What do you ship it, like UPS? Like
well,
DHL?
the last shipment went through FedEx. I have a very good friend. Actually, my husband has a very good friend who extremely generously offered to underwrite the shipment through his company, because he ships like hundreds of thousands of dollars a week through FedEx. So he has a great
rate.
Wow.
So he just basically bankrolled 60 boxes of aid into Odessa. And I just found out today they're in Germany. The second they get to Romania, yes, I have 35 more boxes sitting in the basement that are ready to go. And we just got gifted a warehouse on the Upper West Side.
What?
Wow.
So we moved out of the building. And I don't know. I mean, I'm a producer. Like you just figure it
Ariel
out.
gets shit done.
You get it
Yes.
done. So you figure out it's incredible. Thousands and thousands of dollars shipping. People are amazing. They have been so generous. It's like incredible.
Now, people are definitely. Also, like don't you love to give them when you give your housekeepers
Yeah,
things?
yeah.
You just want to give. So when they're sending like, oh my God, there's a reason to clear the house out, and they send it to
Right.
your.
Some people
so they put
are
Twister and
yeah.
all that.
So
all
some
the,
people
all the garbage
are
out.
like, I don't need like a single razor blade.
Yeah.
Or
Can I share a quick story about this? About
Yes.
Ukraine? So a friend, and also kind of a plug for like Chabad as well. So I have
No,
a
that
friend,
we can't.
No, I
do.
want to talk
No, I'm
about the
just-
fact that this is all happening in Ukraine. I want to talk about that. We have
Yeah.
to talk about that. Yeah.
So basically, I have a friend. His name is Ben. He lives in Bed-Stuy. His wife's grandmother, who's a Holocaust survivor, she lives in Ukraine. She's 80 something, and she wants to get out. Ben's a secular Jew. He calls me up and he says, Joseph, I'm trying to get my grandmother out of Ukraine. Can you help me? And I hesitated for a second. I was like, Chabad is really deep in Ukraine. They have all these different centers, and
Unbelievable.
it's incredible what's going on. They have like 120 families who are in Ukraine. So I call up an old classmate of mine. His name is Shalom.
120 families that are Chabad families working with communities. So it's not like 120 families in general.
Oh,
There's
okay.
one family handles this entire community.
Yeah.
Number two family handles this. So
And they stayed. They didn't go to Israel. Everybody's still in Ukraine.
Well, they were planning on staying there. Then I think a lot of them left. But they were creating these like extractions, like getting people out like as the bombs were falling. So I call this one guy. I say, hey, look, I got a friend. His grandmother. This is her phone number. She's 85 years old. Can you maybe get her out? It's literally in the middle of a war.
Of a war.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's
war.
crazy. Yep.
And he's like, you know what? I'm all over it. And he, like, it's an obsession
to help.
to help, and literally
Yeah.
extract people out of
Yeah.
Ukraine. And he was up all night on the phone, and his brother-in-law was like the rabbi in Kharkov or out on this town
Yeah.
or Kiev or this, that, and the other. And it took them like 3 or 4 days. And he says, make sure like tomorrow morning she's at the synagogue.
my
She has to be at the
God.
synagogue. And he was like, well, I don't know how to get her there because she's not whatever, she can't really walk on her own. And they found someone else to bring her to the synagogue, and they extracted her, I think, to Poland. And then from Poland
To Israel.
Wow.
I mean, one phone call, and they didn't ask any questions. They didn't ask.
if she wants a Weight Watchers card, I am her girl.
That
I do.
is
But
crazy.
do you understand this story?
Yes, no, it's
First of all, I want
incredible.
to discuss Ukraine.
But wait, let
Ukraine-
me just tell you this because you're going to like this. I want to say that the place that really stepped up, my son's school, is attached to a synagogue. And it's really the synagogue that has facilitated getting us this space and helping us do everything. So,
What's the name of the synagogue? Give it
well,
a
I don't
plug.
want to say because I don't need everybody to know where my son goes to school.
Wow.
But so there is
St. Mary's on the corner
The
of
Immaculate Heart of
the Immaculate Heart of
Or
not the widow,
Perpetual Sorrows.
the Virgin Mary.
You were talking about Ukraine.
Sorry, so
Ukraine,
yes.
No.
It's incredible.
So,
Speaking of trying to find Hashem everywhere, Modi thinks
on.
that Ukraine has had this fighting chance because of all these holy people that are buried there.
Oh, I love-
First of all, where a tzaddik, where a righteous person is buried, is an energy that is insane, and the most intense rabbis and spiritual leaders of the world are buried in this exact place, Ukraine. You have the Baal Shem
Wow.
Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement, is buried in Ukraine.
right.
The first Lubavitch Rebbe,
Yeah.
the Alter Rebbe, is buried in Ukraine.
Yeah.
The Uman, Rabbi Nachman, is where people go every Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
It's all in Ukraine. The energy of that is definitely, and who's leading the fight against the Russians? Zelensky.
Yeah.
a comedian.
A comedian
Okay,
with a
yeah,
chelik in Olam Haba. With his,
Wow.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you
Yeah,
people?
yeah.
Mashiach is here. We just have to let him in.
Well, if he
Mashiach-
tells us where he is, we'll let him in.
I'll tell you where Mashiach is. I'm going to tell you all where Mashiach is.
What is Mashiach? I think
What is
that's a
Mashiach?
good- that's a
Mashiach,
good-
it's not.
No,
it's
good
not-
question.
listen to me. Mashiach is an energy. where when you get focus on me, put your phone down. When you
I'm
see,
worried about him for a time.
when you step back and see what's happening with your collection of all your stuff to help the world, you're just like, not when you're laughing at the fact that someone sent you a Weight Watchers card. Which, by the way, you should call Weight Watchers and tell them to sponsor one of these podcasts. It's when you see, all of a sudden, you just step back and you see this, wow, this is happening.
Yeah.
You're looking at Mashiach. That's Mashiach. That's Mashiach.
I like that.
And
that's
what
good.
it is. And I'm telling you, an entire generation, screamed, we want Mashiach now.
Tell me about it.
They screamed it.
Yeah.
And he's here. So now he's here. So the want, which is a horrible place to be, in a place of want, right? That's gone. So Mashiach, just to visualize it, is, do you ever go to an office and you're waiting in the waiting room?
All
right?
the time.
Because the person who's you're meeting with wants to make himself look important, so you got to sit out there for 10 minutes before they bring you to see him. So when you're sitting in that office and people from the office walk by on the way to the coffee room and you hear the conversation, some of them say, hey, that deal, I could have had it for 10. I got him down to 5. And Mashiach hears that.
Right.
And he hears the conversation happening in the office. He's like, ugh, I don't want to go in yet. Or he might hear something like, amazing. Wow, we just hired these whole people who are refugees and that. And then he'll want to go in. So Mashiach is here. We just have to let him in, give him reasons to come in. I thought the pandemic was going to be the reason, but it brought us further apart. It brought us further apart. No vaccine, yes vaccine. I never even imagined that would be an issue. And now this war, I think, will bring us, God willing, it will bring us together.
Does anybody want to do a rebuttal, or should I do the rebuttal?
Go
No,
for it. You're here. So you give me, go ahead. So I just give you my Mashiach spiel. Now you give me your, what, go ahead, no?
So my feeling of Mashiach is that, that like we have so much ego in our lives, and like the ego creates conflict, right? And I want to beat you, you want to beat me. It's a conflict, and sort of, and like a Mashiach is like a time where we'll be egoless. We all want to like become one and have like a similar goal in life. And when I'm looking at this war, I don't see the time of Mashiach. I see somebody who's a horrible person, who's killing innocent people.
Horrible.
Now there are beautiful sparks of beautiful things that are happening, and we could focus on that, and we should. But to say that, what Putin is doing doesn't smell to me. Doesn't smell to me like somebody's like Mashiach. The era of like a utopian era is about to descend upon us. It doesn't feel like that to me.
I hear what Periel's doing.
Yeah.
I hear that people are waiting at the train stations.
Those are beautiful sparks.
People are waiting at a train station to take a refugee in. People are leaving their strollers that's Mashiach. That's Mashiach.
Yeah, but
that's Mashiach. Don't tell me but. That is Mashiach.
Well, then why is it happening then? Why is it happening to begin with?
I don't have those answers.
Well,
I don't have those answers. But if you stay in a positive consciousness.
But how can you stay in a positive consciousness? I mean, you have to address the fact that there are thousands of innocent people getting slaughtered.
I understand. That's not Mashiach. Okay? the bombs landing on is not Mashiach.
It's Mashiach light, maybe, perhaps.
But sometimes you have to take 2 steps back to go, forward and all that. Right. And I hope whatever's happening in Europe and all that.
I do love that about you, Bodhi. That you
it's
see,
amazing.
No, he does see the glass half full, which is wonderful.
Let's bring this full circle.
Okay.
Can we ship some featherweight wheelchairs?
Absolutely.
To Odessa?
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
They could use them.
Do you have a question for him?
Yes, me too. It's a good one.
Oh, it's a good one. No. No, Joey, by the way, Joey Piekarski is a fan of the podcast. He listens to. You've heard every podcast we've done.
I've heard every single one. Started from beginning.
So nice.
Every single one.
Wow, what's your
favorite?
favorite?
Has it gotten better?
I think it's yes. I think the three of you working well up. Well, yes, of course it got better. Yeah.
We're such narcissists. We're like, tell us about it.
Give us a compliment. Tell us we're pretty.
I think the best thing I like about it.
Tell us we're pretty. Leo and I before this went for Botox.
Can you not? All right.
You could bleep it out if you
It's
want.
a feeling that I
don't care.
like. It's a certain feeling that I feel like I'm whatever, like in someone's living room. We're sitting around, we're talking, we're joking. It's a feeling
It's a
that
vibe.
it's a vibe that I really like. I just plug it and I'm in a
Joey
happy
gets the
place.
vibe.
Joey gets the vibe.
Joey's
Joey's
get the
very
vibe.
vibey. He's
Joey
very,
passed the
very
vibe check.
Yes, definitely
What's
passed
your
the vibe.
favorite episode?
I can't say I have a favorite one. It's all one long episode to me.
Oh God.
No, really,
Same,
it's all
same.
one sort of like. No, really, it's one.
No, I have favorites.
I mean, the last guy was actually pretty good. The guy from the comedy stuff.
No.
The comedy stuff. No, no.
And
that
you guys,
was-
you guys had a similar conversation about God and not God.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought he's kind
God and
He's
not
amazing.
God.
I thought it
God,
was very
our
like.
next step, we'll do that
it
again.
was,
God, not
yes.
God.
See if you can book God. No, but
He
so
said he
I-
would come, but he has a meeting with the Mashiach.
So you know the question I ask
Oh
all the
my
guests at
God.
the end.
Oh, my God.
Oh, who's
that's
your rabbi?
Wow, I turned to two.
Could you tell the mic?
Oh, yes,
You're
yes,
sitting
yes.
in New Jersey, and
Yes.
the mic is over here.
Do I have to say names or? I have two. I have a close friend and a brother. That I
Okay.
turn to. Those are the two people that I turn to.
Are they Orthodox?
No. One of them is just a good friend, and he's very like sort of an honest, good truth teller, good person. And my brother, who's also is a lawyer, but also he can see through all my bullshit, and he can see through my bullshit. And if I have a problem, I have a tendency every couple of years to get into trouble. And
Really?
so
What kind of trouble?
I mean, we should have started there. That
Wow.
sounds
Trouble.
exciting.
And so what I usually do is first thing I do is I go to my friends and I ask them advice. And some people give you advice that you want to hear. Some people give you advice that you want to hear. Some people give you advice that you're not able to hear. Then I call my brother. I'll just say his name is Mendy. He just had a 40th birthday in Florida. I was there for the weekend.
Happy birthday, Mendy.
Happy birthday, Mendy. And when I talk to Mendy's a genius. What he does is I call him and he doesn't respond. He waits. Because he waits for at night when he's walking his dog Leo, and by doing that, he changes the pace of the conversation. He doesn't get caught up in the reaction of a problem.
Oh.
Wow.
So automatically he slows it down and he takes control. Because when you're in the heat of a moment, the heat of a problem, you get like really reactive and you start reacting. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? How do I text? How do I this? First thing he does, he does not call. He like ignores me for 6 hours. And I'm waiting for him to call me back. And then I know at night when he's walking the dog, he has all the time in the world and he has quiet and he has patience. He listens to details. And after I'm finished talking to him, I tell myself, I say, Joseph, just listen to Mendy. Shut out all the voices out and just listen to him and follow him. And
Wow,
And this is your brother.
That's your real rabbi. That's what he's really your.
he's my rabbi, yeah.
This is your older brother.
My younger brother. He's
Younger
10
brother.
10 years younger.
Wow.
Wow.
Than me. Yeah. So he's the one that
That's
I
so
turn to.
nice.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's very.
So the
beautiful.
moral of the story is when you have a problem, walk your dog. Walk the
Walk your
dog.
dog.
Walk the dog.
Talk to someone else.
Walk the metaphorical dog.
Slow it down.
Yeah.
Slow it down, first of all. Slow it
That's
down.
nice, I like
Don't
that.
get reactive. Slow it down. Take a breath and then talk to somebody who's slow and quiet and has the breath in it. So yeah, so that's my Rebbe.
That's amazing.
That's a good answer.
It's a great answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're wrapping this up. So, ladies and gentlemen, of course, obviously, 1-800-wheelchairs and
Wheelchair.
It's a singular chair.
Wheelchair.
single. So it's a good thing I made a mistake. Now we can talk about the fact that it's 1-800-wheelchair, not chairs.
Or just
Wheelchair.
wheelchair.com.
And or wheelchair.com or featherchair.com and yeah.
And we'll post all of that when we
Yeah.
edit
Yeah,
this
we'll
thing.
do links galore.
Links galore, and then
We have some shows.
we have Periel. How can they help?
You can just follow me on Instagram. It's a play-by-play at Periel Ashenbrand. You can figure out how to spell it.
Everyone Venmo her money for
Benville Hermoney,
shi-
and
for
then
shipping.
me and Leo is leo@modilive.com.
no
No.
info@modilive.com.
Oh, no, but our Instagram is Modi_live at
Yep.
Instagram, and which you probably already have if you're
At
watching
Instagram.
this. At Instagram, oh my
Let it
God.
happen.
This is the-
Let him get through it.
Oh my God, ModiLive.com for
ModiLive
all
at
shows that are coming
Instagram.
up. We have a show coming up in Miami Improv on the 24th,
March 24th.
March 24th, and then we're in New York at 2 shows
Stand
at
Up New York.
Stand Up New York on the 31st, and there's a special guest, Little Mo. Hey, you doing?
that's
Is
gonna
coming
be
on the
interesting.
show. It's gonna be so much fun. And then there's a whole bunch of other shows that you can see on link.
There's some links up for LA. There's a unique link up for anyone in Toronto who wants to go to a special event that you will be at.
Magen David Dome, it's a special organization for ambulances and much more than that. I won't just say ambulances, but it's in Toronto. So those of you in Toronto, go to my Instagram and look at the bio has all the links to all the shows. You please come. Please say hi when you come, and then just
shine.
Leo
What
is
does
so
that
Jewish.
mean? I don't even know what that
Can
means.
I just tell you how Jewish Leo is? Can I just tell you? We had a show. We had a show, and no, okay. So I'm just.
I want to say more thing about Leo when you're done.
No. We have to.
We can talk about me all day
show.
long.
We had a show. We had a show in Miami for Larger Than Life, amazing organization. They raise money for kids, Israel kids, but also Palestinian kids that look deep into cancer, and they help them and do a whole bunch of stuff with them. Anyway, so we're going to the event, and Leo, it says Miami, it's 1,000 degrees, and Leo brings a sweater. I go, what do you need a sweater for? He goes, I can already tell it's going to be freezing in that.
And guess
And he was 100% right. I was doing the show, and you can see my breath.
It was
That's
ice
how strong
cold.
the AC was.
Ice cold.
Also, if those of you who haven't been to a Jewish event, as soon as you arrive, there's always sushi. Because I guess when Moses crossed the river, there was a sushi station. When Moses crossed the river, when Moses crossed the Dead Sea, there was a sushi. So at every Jewish event, there's a sushi station. So Leo walks by the sushi stations to analyze and goes, they have small plates by the sushi station. He right away knows that's
like
not.
that.
No, he doesn't
Because
like
I'm going to go back for 2. So give me the normal. If there's the carving station, they have the big plates. And then the sushi station gets like these little plates. They should use the same plates.
Right.
Because I'm just going to end up having to use 2 small plates.
Yes. And
That's my take. If you're catering, listening to this,
No, verstehst.
there's some feedback for the sushi stations. I'd go to a lot of them at this point.
Okay, so what was your last thought?
I was going to say the best thing about the podcast getting better and better is Leo getting more, because he's a great calibrator. He calibrates the whole. I feel he really calibrates you guys.
I'm gonna add that.
He adds that. He adds a balance to the whole thing.
We could put that on
It's
your
like when
business
someone asks me
card.
what I do, I'm like, I calibrate.
No, he balances.
That's good. That's good.
He balances the whole. He's like, he's a.
I like that. I'll take it.
She unjews it.
No, she asks the right questions, because you throw in a lot of Jewish words, and she's like, "What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?"
That's all I do. I teach
Right,
you.
like-
That's the only thing
No,
I
you
do
do a
here.
lot.
Right. So, I mean, of course, yeah, but but
Joey, Abim Zetzach.
Abim Zetzach,
Abim
yeah.
Zetzach. As long as we see each other and we
God,
and both and Abim Kensach, and thank we remember each other. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Sei gesund, sei gesund, whichever one works for you, and stay in touch. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.